We are continuing to talk about characteristics of quadratics, so we are on slide 6. Yesterday we finished the left-hand side, which talked about if A is positive, parabola opens upward, and we have a minimum value. This is our minimum value right here. Let me zoom in a little bit. And then if we have a parabola that opens downward, it is caused by the number in front of the x squared, the A, that is negative. So it's opening downward. So the very top point, which is our vertex, is also our maximum. Let's go over here. We can drag and drop on here also. This is talking about solutions. So remember the words roots, zero, solutions, x-intercepts. They all mean the same thing. They all mean where's the cross the x-axis? Where's our function cross the x-axis? So blank is when the parabola touches or crosses the x-axis. So we have, see how it only touches once? So one solution is when the parabola touches or crosses the x-axis once. So that parabola can be placed anywhere in our coordinate plane. So in this case, it's only crossing at one spot. We can also see how it crosses at two spots. So two solutions is when the parabola touches or crosses the x-axis twice. And the last one, see how this parabola is floating above the x-axis? It can also float below it going the opposite way. But when that happens, we have no solution. There are no x-intercepts. So no solution is when the parabola does not cross or touch the x-axis at all. Let's go to slide 7. Identifying attributes of quadratic, and these are your practice problems. So we will do the first one together. So let's look at our quadratic. Axis of symmetry is what divides the parabola in half. So grab this yellow line and put it over your axis of symmetry. So the axis of symmetry is written as x equals some value. So x equals, in this case, the axis of symmetry goes through the x-axis at -1. So x equals -1. Our y-intercept, where does it cross the y-axis? 0. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. 0, 3. Vertex is this point right here. It's the point where it changes direction. So that'll be at -1, 1, 2. The domain is all the possible x values. With quadratics, if there's no restrictions, if there's arrows going both directions, this would be all real numbers. Or -infinity to +infinity. And our range, it's how far down it goes to how far up. So the range is limited because on the y-axis, the lowest it goes is 2. That's where the valley is. So we would put it at where y is greater than or equal to 2. The way you can do the greater than or equal to symbol real easy is by underlining it. There you go. Underline the greater than sign. Might be an easier way. You can also insert a symbol if you want, a special character. Okay, the next item we need to look at is number root 0 solutions. How many times does it cross the x-axis? The x-axis? 0. So we have none. Grab this. And do we have a maximum or a minimum? Whenever we look at this, is this considered a maximum or a minimum? Remember, this is a smiley face. Someone who's smiling has a minimal amount of problems. That's what they say anyway. So what would this be? Minimum. Okay, so now I'm going to give you time to do the next one right here. I'm going to pause the video. I want you to pause the video and work on the second example. Let's look at the next example. Check your work. Zoom in. So on this one, we have our axis of symmetry at x equals -2. Our y-intercept is at 0, -4 right here. Our vertex is at -2, 0. Our domain, we could have just wrote all real numbers. So either one, all real. And then our range, y is going to be less than or equal to 0 because it does not go above 0. So it has to go below, which means less than. We have one solution, one root, and we have a maximum. So our vertex and our solution are actually the same on this. Okay, I want you to go to the next example. Let's see this one. Zoom in. Okay, axis of symmetry. We need a line to go down the middle. So I need to grab a line, bring it over. So that's at x equals +1. Our y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. So that'd be at, I'm not going left or right. I just go straight up to 8. So 0, 8. Our vertex is where it changes direction. So that's at 1, 9. Our domain, is it going to continue on and on forever? No, it doesn't. In this case, it is at -2 to 4. So when we do our domain, we do our x values. So our domain is going to be the x values from left to right. So x is between -2 and 4. But then we need to know what kind of symbols. So on this case, it'll be, is -2 included? No, so it's just going to be less than because we go from least to greatest. And then the other one, it'll be less than or equal to because it is included. Okay, and then our range is our y values. So what's the bottom and what's the top? How far down does it go? 0. And how far up does it go? 9. The highest is 9. So the y values are from 0 to 9. Is 0 included? It's not included over here, but it is included over here. So we'll do less than or equal to on this one. Is 9 included? Yeah, so it's less than or equal to also. Number of roots, 0 solutions. How many times does it cross the x-axis or touch the x-axis? It looks like 2, right? But is this included? It's not included because it's an open circle. So we cannot include that as our zeros. So the only one we have is this one right here. This is our only 0. So grab a circle. And take it over there and circle that it only has one solution. And it's this one right here. And this is a frown. So what do we have? A maximum or a minimum? Maximum. I'm going to pause it. I want you to pause it. And I want you to do the next one. Let's come back together to finish this slide. Let's look at that last example. The axis of symmetry is where x is 2. So make sure you draw that axis of symmetry. The y-intercept is here, 0, 0. And our vertex is at 2, -4. Domain, because it extends with arrows pointing, is all real numbers, -infinity to +infinity. But the range is going to be when y is greater than or equal to -4. So it starts at -4 and it only gets larger. The y values continue to increase. We have 2 roots, 0 solutions. Here is one right here. Here's the other. And since this is a smiley face, this is minimum. We have a minimum value, which I look at it as a valley, so minimum. Okay, your assignment is going to be on Google Classroom. I'm also going to pass it out in class. You're just going to start with doing 1 through 3 right now. And then we'll finish the rest tomorrow.